Hello, beautiful soul. If you're listening to this right now, I want you to know that you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe you're walking through your neighborhood, maybe you're sitting quietly in your room, or perhaps you're doing something simple like folding laundry or making dinner. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I want you to take a gentle breath and know that this moment, right here, is the beginning of something wonderful. You clicked on this video because something inside you whispers that you want to speak English, but maybe that same voice also tells you that you're not ready, that you're too old, too slow, or too afraid. I see you, I feel you, and I want to tell you something that might change everything for you today. Learning English isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finding the voice that's already inside you and giving it the freedom to express what your heart wants to say. Think of English not as a mountain you have to climb, but as a bridge you're building, one gentle step at a time, connecting your inner world to a bigger, more colorful world of possibilities. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, thousands of people just like you are listening to these same words, feeling the same mixture of hope and nervousness that lives in your chest. You are not alone in this journey. You never were. Every person who speaks English fluently today was once exactly where you are right now, holding the same dreams, carrying the same fears, wondering if they could really do this. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're in a coffee shop and someone asks you a simple question in English. Instead of that familiar panic, instead of your mind going blank, you find yourself responding naturally, easily, like you're talking to an old friend. Your words flow not because they're perfect, but because they're real. They come from your heart, and that makes them beautiful. This isn't a fantasy. This isn't too good to be true. This is absolutely possible for you, and I'm going to show you how. But here's what makes this journey different from everything else you've tried. We're not going to focus on being perfect. We're not going to worry about sounding like a native speaker. We're going to focus on something much more important, helping you fall in love with your own voice in English. You see, English isn't just a collection of rules and words to memorize. English is a living, breathing way to share who you are with the world. Every time you speak, even when you make mistakes, especially when you make mistakes, you're being brave. You're choosing connection over comfort, growth over staying the same. By the end of our time together today, I promise you this, you'll feel lighter. You'll feel like English is something that can belong to you, not something that you have to chase or conquer. You'll have practical ways to practice that feel like living, not studying. Most importantly, you'll remember that you are not broken and you don't need to be fixed. You just need to be encouraged. So settle in, take another gentle breath, and let's walk this path together. Let's discover that learning English can feel like coming home to yourself in a language that gives you new ways to shine. You're about to realize that being a beginner isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to celebrate, because beginnings are where all the magic happens. Let me start by saying something that might surprise you. The biggest obstacle to your English fluency isn't your accent, it isn't your grammar, and it isn't how many words you know. The biggest obstacle is the story you tell yourself about what it means to make mistakes. Right now, I want us to rewrite that story together. When you were learning to walk as a little child, you fell down hundreds of times. Did you ever think to yourself, I'm terrible at walking. I should just give up and crawl forever? Of course not. Each time you fell, something inside you knew that falling was part of learning. You got up, you tried again, and eventually walking became as natural as breathing. The same beautiful process is happening with your English right now, even if it doesn't feel that way. Here's what I want you to understand about mistakes. They are not evidence that you're failing. They are evidence that you're growing. Every mistake you make in English is your brain stretching, reaching for something new, trying to express the fullness of who you are in a different language. That's not failure. That's courage in action. I want you to try something with me right now. Say these words out loud, even if you're in a public place, even if you feel shy. Say them quietly if you need to, but let your voice speak them. I am not behind. I am exactly where I need to be. Every word I speak is helping me grow. Feel how those words sit in your mouth. Feel how they land in your heart. This is your new truth. The fear of sounding silly, the worry that people will judge you, the concern that you're too old to learn something new. These fears are trying to protect you, but they're actually holding you prisoner. Imagine if you treated your English learning the way you treat a garden. You don't plant seeds and then yell at them for not being flowers immediately. You water them, you give them sunlight, you trust the process. Your English deserves the same patience and kindness. Here's something that changed everything for me when I was learning to help people with their English. I realized that people don't need you to be perfect to understand you. They need you to be real. When you speak English with genuine emotion, when you let your personality shine through, people connect with that authenticity. They're not listening for perfect grammar. They're listening for the human being behind the words. Think about the people in your life who you love talking to in your native language. Are they the people who speak perfectly, or are they the people who speak from their hearts? It's always the heart, isn't it? The same is true in English. People remember how you made them feel, not whether you use the past tense correctly. I want to give you a new way to think about fluency. Fluency isn't about speaking fast or using complex words. Fluency is about expressing yourself honestly and being understood. It's about that moment when you're talking and you forget you're speaking a second language because you're so focused on sharing something that matters to you. That can happen with simple words and basic grammar, as long as it comes from a real place inside you. Let's practice changing your internal dialogue. Instead of thinking, my English is bad, try thinking, my English is growing. Instead of, I can't say what I want to say, try, I'm learning new ways to express myself. Instead of, people will laugh at me, try, most people admire courage, and speaking a second language takes courage. These small shifts in thinking create massive shifts in your confidence. Here's your daily practice for building a fluency mindset. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you start your day, say this to yourself. Today I will speak English with kindness toward myself. I will celebrate small victories. I will remember that every person who speaks English fluently was once a beginner just like me. Make this your morning gift to yourself. Remember that your journey with English is uniquely yours. You don't need to learn the same way your friend learns, or your classmate learns, or the person in the YouTube video learns. You need to learn in a way that honors who you are, how you process information, and what motivates you. Some days you'll feel excited and confident. Other days you'll feel frustrated and tired. Both kinds of days are part of the journey. Both kinds of days are helping you grow. The most beautiful thing about being a beginner is that you have permission to be imperfect. You have permission to experiment, to play, to try things that might not work. Advanced speakers often feel pressure to perform, but you get to explore. You get to discover. You get to surprise yourself with what comes out of your mouth when you're brave enough to try. So today, right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll speak to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend who's learning something new. Promise that you'll celebrate the small victories, the moment you understand a song lyric, the time you successfully order something, the day you think a thought in English without trying. These moments are building blocks of fluency, and they deserve to be celebrated. Now, let's talk about something that will transform your English learning experience: listening with your heart, instead of listening with anxiety. Right now, when you hear English being spoken, your mind probably goes into overdrive, trying to catch every word, translate everything, understand everything perfectly. I want to teach you a different way to listen, a way that will make English feel like music instead of noise. When a baby listens to their parents speak, they're not analyzing grammar or worrying about understanding every single word. They're absorbing the rhythm, the emotion, the melody of the language. They're letting the language wash over them like warm water, and slowly, naturally, they begin to understand and then to speak. This is exactly how I want you to approach listening to English. Find something in English that brings you joy. Maybe it's a cooking show, maybe it's music, maybe it's a gentle podcast like this one, or maybe it's people talking on the street. The key is that it should be something that makes you feel good, not something that stresses you out. When you enjoy what you're listening to, your brain relaxes, and when your brain relaxes, it learns much more effectively. Here's a practice I want you to try today. Choose 5 minutes of English content that you enjoy. As you listen, don't try to understand everything. Instead, listen for the emotions in the voices. Can you hear when someone is happy, sad, excited, or calm, even if you don't understand all the words? This is emotional listening, and it's one of the most powerful ways to connect with a language. Now let's talk about thinking in English, which might sound impossible to you right now, but I promise it's simpler than you think. You don't need to start by thinking complex thoughts or full sentences. You can start by thinking single words throughout your day. When you see a cat, think the word cat in English. When you feel happy, think the word happy. When you're drinking coffee, think coffee. These tiny moments are planting English seeds in your mind. As you go through your day, try this gentle practice. Describe simple actions to yourself in English. When you're washing your hands, think, I am washing my hands. When you're looking out the window, think, I am looking out the window. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Just let yourself play with the language in the safety of your own thoughts. The beautiful thing about thinking in English is that it's private and safe. No one can judge you, no one can correct you, and you can go as slowly as you need to. Your thoughts are your practice space, your laboratory where you can experiment with words and phrases without any pressure. Here's something magical that will start happening as you practice thinking simple thoughts in English. You'll begin to notice that some English words and phrases feel more natural to you than others. Pay attention to these. These are the words and expressions that want to become part of your active vocabulary. These are the pieces of English that are choosing you, just as much as you're choosing them. I want you to create what I call English moments throughout your day. These are small pockets of time when you consciously surround yourself with English. Maybe it's listening to one English song while you make breakfast. Maybe it's changing your phone's language to English for just 1 hour. Maybe it's describing your lunch to yourself in English. These moments don't need to be long or intense. They just need to be consistent and kind. Let me share a secret with you about language learning that not many people talk about. Your brain is always listening, even when you think you're not paying attention. When you have English playing softly in the background while you're cooking or cleaning, your subconscious mind is absorbing patterns, rhythms, and sounds. This passive listening is doing more work than you realize, preparing your brain for active speaking and understanding. Here's a practice that can change everything for you. Start having gentle conversations with yourself in English. Not serious, formal conversations, but playful, easy ones. When you're getting dressed in the morning, you might say to yourself, "What should I wear today? I think I'll wear this blue shirt. It's comfortable and I like the color." These conversations with yourself are completely safe and incredibly powerful for building fluency. Before we move to our next section, I want to ask you to do something special for me and for yourself. If this way of thinking about listening and practicing feels good to you, if it feels like something you can actually do, I want you to subscribe to this channel. Not because I need you to, but because you deserve to have these gentle reminders and encouragements coming into your life regularly. You deserve to be part of a community that understands your journey and celebrates your progress. And here's something I'd love for you to try. In the comments below, write one simple sentence about your day in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be complex. It could be as simple as, "Today I walked outside," or "I made tea this morning." Share that sentence with us, because when you write it, you're not just practicing English. You're claiming your place in this global community of English learners. You're saying, "I belong here and my voice matters." Remember, every person who comments is someone just like you, someone who's brave enough to practice, someone who's choosing growth over comfort. When you share your sentence, you're not just helping yourself, you're encouraging someone else who's reading the comments and thinking, "If they can do it, maybe I can too." Here's something I want you to know that might surprise you. You already have everything you need to start having real conversations in English right now. Today, with the words you already know. You don't need to wait until you're good enough, or until you know more vocabulary, or until your grammar is perfect. You can start expressing yourself authentically in English with simple words and a brave heart. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're at a grocery store and you need to ask where something is. You might think you need to say something complex like, "Excuse me, could you please direct me to the location of the dairy products?" But what if instead you simply said, "Where is milk?" with a smile and genuine eye contact? That simple question, asked with warmth and humanity, will not only get you the information you need, but it will also create a small moment of human connection. This is what I call microfluency. It's the ability to accomplish real communication tasks using simple language authentically. Every time you successfully express something you mean in English, Even if it's just thank you said with genuine gratitude, you've achieved microfluency. These small victories are the building blocks of confident English speaking. Let's practice some real-life scenarios together. I'll give you the situation, and then I'll show you how you can handle it with simple, authentic English. As I speak through these examples, try saying the phrases out loud with me. Let your mouth and your voice get comfortable with these words. Scenario 1. You're at a cafe and you want to order something. Instead of worrying about perfect grammar, you could say, I want coffee, please, with milk, thank you. Feel how simple and clear that is. The person serving you understands exactly what you want, and you've successfully completed a real English interaction. Scenario 2. You meet someone new and they ask how you are. Instead of panicking about how to respond perfectly, you could say, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Notice how this simple exchange opens the door for further conversation, even though the language is basic. Scenario 3. You're lost and need directions. You could say, excuse me, where is the library? If they give you directions you don't understand completely, you could say, thank you, and ask someone else. Or you could say, sorry, can you say that slowly? Both responses are perfectly acceptable and show that you're actively communicating. The magic in all of these examples isn't in the complexity of the language. The magic is in the intention to connect, to communicate, to participate in life using English. When you speak English with a genuine intention to connect with another person, something beautiful happens. The focus shifts from how you sound to what you're trying to share, and that shift is where real fluency lives. I want you to start collecting what I call English victories, moments when you successfully express something in English, no matter how simple. Maybe today your victory is saying good morning to a neighbor. Maybe tomorrow it's asking for help in a store. Maybe next week it's making a small comment about the weather. Each of these moments is proof that you can use English to participate in the world around you. Here's something important about these micro-victories. They're not just language practice. They're confidence builders. Every time you successfully communicate something in English, you're proving to yourself that you can do this. You're creating positive associations with speaking English, which makes you more likely to try again next time. Let's practice expressing emotions and opinions with simple language. You don't need complex vocabulary to share how you feel or what you think. I like this song is just as meaningful as I find this musical composition quite enjoyable. The weather is nice today expresses the same sentiment as we're experiencing particularly pleasant meteorological conditions. Try this exercise with me. Think of 3 things you did yesterday. Now express each one in the simplest English you can. Maybe it's I cooked dinner, I watched TV, I called my friend. These simple sentences are complete thoughts. They communicate clear information, and they're perfectly good English. You don't need to apologize for simple language. Simple can be powerful. Here's one of my favorite practices for building real-life English confidence. Narrate your daily activities to yourself in simple English. When you're making breakfast, say, I am making breakfast. I put bread in the toaster. I pour coffee into my cup. When you're walking somewhere, say, I am walking to the store. The sun is warm today. I see a dog across the street. This internal narration does several amazing things for your English. First, it gives you constant low-pressure practice. Second, it helps you think in English about real, concrete situations. Third, it builds your confidence with the basic vocabulary of daily life, which is actually the foundation of most conversations. And fourth, it makes English feel natural and integrated into your actual life, not separate from it. Remember that every English speaker, even native speakers, sometimes struggles to find the right words, sometimes says things imperfectly, sometimes has to pause and think. The goal isn't to speak perfectly. The goal is to communicate effectively, and you can do that with simple words spoken with sincerity. As we finish this section, I want you to set a gentle goal for yourself. Choose one small way you'll practice real-life English this week. Maybe you'll say thank you in English to a cashier. Maybe you'll comment beautiful when you see something lovely. Maybe you'll ask how much. When you're shopping, whatever you choose, make it something that feels achievable and kind to yourself. Your goal is to prove to yourself that you can use English to participate in real life, one small moment at a time. Let's talk about your voice in English. And I want to start with something important. Your voice is already perfect exactly as it is right now. You might think you need to sound like a native speaker, or like someone on television, or like your English teacher. But the truth is much more beautiful than that. You need to sound like you, speaking English with confidence and warmth. Your accent, your unique way of pronouncing words, your personal rhythm, these aren't flaws to fix. They're the fingerprint of your voice, and they make your English uniquely yours. I know you might feel self-conscious about how you sound when you speak English. You might record yourself in cringe or avoid speaking because you're worried about your pronunciation. But let me tell you something that might change how you think about this. When people listen to you speak, they're not analyzing your pronunciation. They're listening to your message, your emotion, your humanity. They're connecting with who you are, not judging how you sound. Here's a practice that can transform your relationship with your own voice. In English, start recording yourself speaking for just 1 minute each day. Not to criticize yourself, not to find mistakes, but to become friends with your own voice in English. Talk about something simple, what you had for breakfast, what you can see outside your window, how you're feeling today. Keep these recordings private if you want. They're just for you. At first, hearing your own voice might feel uncomfortable. This is completely normal. Most people feel strange when they hear their own voice recorded, even in their native language. But here's what happens when you do this consistently. You start to hear your own voice as others hear it. You begin to notice the things you do well, the moments when you sound natural and confident. You start to appreciate your unique sound. The secret to confident pronunciation isn't perfection. It's clarity and emotion. When you speak English with genuine feeling about something that matters to you, when you focus on sharing something real rather than sounding perfect, your pronunciation naturally improves. Your mouth relaxes, your breath flows better, and your words come out more clearly because you're focused on communication rather than performance. Let's practice what I call emotional pronunciation. I'm going to give you some phrases, and I want you to say them with real feeling, as if you're talking to someone you care about. Don't worry about perfect pronunciation. Focus on expressing the emotion genuinely. Say this with gratitude. Thank you for helping me. Feel the warmth in your voice. Say this with excitement. I'm so happy to see you. Let your voice lift with joy. Say this with gentle concern. Are you feeling okay? Notice how caring changes your tone. This is emotional pronunciation, when your feelings guide your voice to express exactly what you mean. Here's something wonderful about speaking English with emotion. People understand you better when they can hear feeling in your voice. A word pronounced imperfectly but spoken with genuine emotion is much more effective than a word pronounced perfectly but spoken without any feeling. Your humanity is what makes your English beautiful and memorable. I want to teach you a practice called shadowing that can dramatically improve your pronunciation and confidence. Find a short video or audio recording of someone speaking English in a way that feels good to you. Maybe it's calm and gentle. Maybe it's energetic and enthusiastic. Play a sentence, pause, then try to repeat it exactly as you heard it. Don't focus on understanding every word. Focus on copying the music of the language, the rhythm, the rises and falls, the emphasis. As you practice shadowing, you'll notice something magical happening. You'll start to feel the natural rhythm of English in your body. English has its own heartbeat, its own breathing pattern, and when you shadow native speakers, you're learning to sync up with that rhythm. This isn't about losing your identity or becoming someone else. It's about learning to dance with the natural flow of English. Here's a powerful truth about pronunciation. Most communication happens through tone, emotion, and body language, not through perfect sounds. When you speak English with confidence, when you maintain eye contact, when you smile or show concern or express joy, people understand you even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. Your whole being is communicating, not just your mouth. I want you to practice what I call confident speaking posture. Stand or sit up straight but relaxed. Breathe deeply and slowly. Imagine you're talking to a dear friend who loves you exactly as you are. From this place of physical and emotional confidence, speak any simple sentence in English. Notice how different your voice sounds when your whole body is supporting your speech. Let's address something that might be holding you back, the fear of being misunderstood. Yes, sometimes people might not understand you the first time you say something. This happens to everyone, including native speakers. When this happens, you have several gentle options. You can say it again, a little slower. You can use different words to express the same idea. You can use gestures or write down key words. You can ask the person to be patient with you as you find the right words. Every single one of these responses is perfectly acceptable and shows that you're a confident communicator who doesn't give up when faced with small challenges. People respect persistence and effort much more than they respect perfection. When you keep trying to communicate despite difficulties, you're showing courage, and most people admire courage. Here's your daily pronunciation practice. Choose one sentence that means something to you. Maybe it's something you want to be able to say to someone, or something that expresses how you feel about your English journey. Practice saying this sentence every day, not focusing on making it perfect, but focusing on saying it with more confidence, more emotion, more of yourself each time. Let this sentence become a daily affirmation of your growing voice in English. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to pause for a moment and notice something. You've been listening to English for the past 20 minutes or so. and you've understood not just my words, but my meaning, my emotions, my intentions. You've followed along with complex ideas, personal stories, and practical advice. This isn't an accident. This is proof that you already have more English ability than you give yourself credit for. Think about who you were when you started listening to this video and who you are right now. Maybe you started feeling anxious or doubtful about your English abilities. Maybe you were convinced that speaking English confidently was something that happened to other people, not to you. But right now, in this moment, I hope you feel something different. I hope you feel a gentle spark of possibility, a quiet confidence that says, maybe I really can do this. Learning English isn't just about acquiring a new skill. It's about giving yourself permission to express all the thoughts, dreams, feelings, and ideas that live inside you in a new way. It's about opening doors to new friendships, new opportunities, new ways of seeing the world. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, every moment you practice is an investment in a bigger, richer life for yourself. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. You're having a conversation in English, and you realize that you're not thinking about the language anymore. You're just thinking about what you want to say, and the words are flowing naturally. You're laughing at something funny, or explaining something you care about, or asking questions about something that interests you. In that moment, English isn't a subject you're studying. It's a tool you're using to be fully yourself in the world. This vision isn't fantasy. This is absolutely achievable for you, and it's closer than you think. Every day that you practice, even for just a few minutes, you're moving toward that version of yourself. Every time you listen to English content, every time you think a thought in English, every time you say a word or sentence out loud, you're building the bridge between who you are today and who you're becoming. But here's what I want you to remember about this journey. It's not about reaching a destination where you suddenly know English. It's about falling in love with the process of growing, expressing, connecting. Even native English speakers are still learning new words, still discovering new ways to express themselves, still sometimes struggling to find exactly the right way to say what they mean. Language is alive, and your relationship with English will keep growing and deepening for as long as you let it. There will be days when you feel frustrated, when you feel like you're not improving fast enough, when you compare yourself to others and feel discouraged. On those days, I want you to remember this conversation we've had today. I want you to remember that learning a language is one of the most courageous things a human being can do. You're not just memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. You're choosing to expand your world, to challenge yourself, to grow into a bigger version of who you can be. Here's what I want you to take away from our time together today. You are not broken, and you don't need to be fixed. You don't need perfect grammar to communicate beautifully. You don't need a native accent to be understood clearly. You don't need to wait until you're ready to start using English in your real life. You just need to be kind to yourself, patient with your progress, and brave enough to keep trying. Let me give you some affirmations that I want you to carry with you. I am not perfect, and I don't need to be. I am progressing, and that's enough. Every word I speak is a victory. Every mistake I make is a step forward. I belong in conversations in English. My voice matters, regardless of my accent. I am brave enough to keep growing. Before we say goodbye, I have something important to ask of you. If anything I've shared today has helped you feel less alone in your English learning journey, if you feel even a tiny bit more confident about your ability to learn and grow, please subscribe to this channel. When you subscribe, you're not just following content. You're joining a community of people who believe in each other, who celebrate small victories, and who understand that learning English is about more than language. It's about courage, connection, and hope. And here's something that would mean the world to me. In the comments below, I want you to share your favorite sentence from everything we talked about today. Maybe it's one of the practice phrases. Maybe it's an affirmation. Maybe it's something I said that resonated with your heart. When you write that sentence in the comments, you're not just practicing your English. You're claiming your place in this community. You're saying, I am here, I am learning, and I matter. When you read through the comments and see all the sentences that other learners have shared, you'll realize something beautiful. You're part of something bigger than yourself. Every person who had the courage to comment is someone who's on the same journey as you, someone who understands your struggles and celebrates your victories. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. Thank you for being brave enough to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep believing in yourself, even when it feels difficult. Your English journey is unique and valuable, and I'm honored to be a small part of it. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and keep believing in the beautiful voice that's growing stronger inside you every single day. Until we meet again, be gentle with yourself, celebrate your progress, and remember, you are exactly where you need to be. Your English journey is unfolding perfectly, one word, one sentence, one brave moment at a time.